Hi Chelsea fans, it's boring, isn't it? It's the international break, it's just pointless, it does my head in, and it's just spoiled the momentum and the rhythm that Chelsea were in. So with not a lot of news going around at the moment, I've had myself an idea. Why don't we just rate the performances so far to this point of the season in 3 videos. The first today, looking at the goalkeepers and defenders as a unit, individuals within those particular positions, and rate them out of 10 so far in the season. Tomorrow, the midfielders, rate those out of 10, how they've been performing. And finally, on Friday, the attacking midfielders, or the attackers and the strikers. So hopefully, it'll give you something a little bit different while we're waiting for the Premier League to come back. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So guys, goalkeepers and defenders, rating them out of 10 individually with their performances so far this season. And it's interesting because straight away you can see someone that's been disappointing and someone that's been outstanding. So we have to go through them one by one. Let's start with someone who there's plenty of discussions about, and that's Kepa Arrizabalaga. So Kepa started the season as the number 1, and he was in goal for the opening day against Brighton. He was also in goal for Liverpool. And let's be honest, in both of those games, there was question marks over his performance. First, the Brighton goal that went in, could he have done better with it? And the Liverpool game where he made the mistake and gifted the ball to Sadio Mane. And as a result, for the next game against West Brom, Willie Caballero come in goal, and we drew 3-3, having found ourselves 3-0 down. At that point, Chelsea signed Edouard Mendy, more on him in just a second, and Mendy coming and played against Crystal Palace. Kepa was recalled for the game in goal, Chelsea versus Southampton. Edouard Mendy was unavailable, and Chelsea drew 3-3 again. Since that point, Edouard Mendy has been installed as the number 1 at the club, and he's been goal ever since. And for Kepa himself, it's not been a great start. Kepa has come in, as I say, start the season, made some mistakes, looks a bit shaky. It looks as though that feeds back, or that feeds through to the defenders, because they're not confident when he's in goal, coming to claim balls. He's very vocal. The club are standing by him. Frank Lampard has defended him with his press conferences. Petr Cech has come out and supported him. But overall, in the games that he's featured so far, Brighton in the Premier League, Brighton, Liverpool and Southampton, you'd have to say it's got to be a 4 out of 10. Willie Caballero come in and played against West Brom. Not really much that he could do. Finding himself 3-0 down, conceding 3 goals. Hasn't really featured after that Premier League. So, I mean, Caballero, 4, 5 out of 10 maybe. So to Edouard Mendy, who's come in and done nothing but impress everyone, considering he cost us a third of what Kepa Arrizabalaga did. The difference with Edouard Mendy is he dominates his penalty box. He talks to people, he bosses people about, he's vocal, he's authoritative, he's imposing, he's a big man, 6'6", his big frame in that goal makes it very difficult for people to beat him from distance, a la Man United with Rashford's shot pushing it around the post. He comes and claims balls from crosses. As I say, he's very demanding, he's very authoritative, and he has impressed everyone. He had a run of clean sheets, conceded at the weekend, unfortunately, but you have to say he's done nothing but impress since he's come in the door, and we're yet to see him be rattled really. For what Chelsea signed him for, you have to say it's a snip and could be one of the deals of the season if he continues to play as he is. So far, Edouard Mendy, 9 out of 10 for me. So to our defence. Some players play 1 game or maybe 2 games. Some players have been in and then been out. Some players have been out and now been in. And we've seen a late signing that's come in, taken time to get ready to play Premier League football, and is now doing fantastically well. Chelsea's defence have had to play with a mixture of different formations, 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, a 4-4-2, changing players, and it's something that they've had to get used to because Frank Lampard, as he said himself, is asked to chop and change because in effect they're playing a pre-season live. So all the work they would do in pre-season, building on players' fitness, they're having to do it in real time, in real game environments. That's why people have been chopping and changing. So let's just have a look at our defence and see if you agree with me with the ratings out of 10. Let's start over on the left-hand side, and we find ourselves with 3 left-backs at the moment. Ben Chilwell, Marcos Alonso, Emerson Palmieri. So let's just look at Ben Chilwell to begin with. Injured when he signed for Chelsea with a foot injury, battling to get fit. He didn't feature in the opening 3 Premier League games, and he first made his appearance in the team against Crystal Palace in a game where he scored and we beat them 4-0. Chilwell has done nothing but impress me, I have to say. There was doubts about his defensive attributes. People will obviously know Ben Chilwell for going forward and what he can do wide, getting the ball in the box, and obviously getting on the end of things. He's a threat from set pieces as well. And maybe some people were doubting the defensive attributes, especially when we were looking to sign him. There are a lot of things being said on social media, but I think that Chilwell's come in and done fantastically well. And you can already see on social media, he's building relationships with players. He's getting on well with players. He's got himself a couple of goals. And you have to say, he's been great since he's come in. He's been really, really good. And for me, Ben Chilwell gets an 8 out of 10. So to Marcos Alonso. And Marcos Alonso seemed to have a bit of a stay of execution at the club, where, bearing in mind that over the summer we're looking at people that are going to be leaving the club, and people were seemingly favouring Emerson going with Alonso staying because of what he offers Chelsea as a wing-back. You wouldn't trust him playing in a back 4 to be completely solid at the back, and we have to be honest about that. But what he gives you in that wide area, his ability with the ball at his feet, his goal threat, the opportunities and chances he creates going forward, that's why you could see him remaining in the squad. But then when he played it in a back 4, and his performance at West Brom, where he gave away a couple of goals, or it just makes some mistakes, and then decides to go and leave the stadium and go and sit on the coach rather than go and join the rest of the players once he'd been changed and showered, enraged Frank Lampard, and we've not seen him around since, until recently when he was named in the squad. Marcos Alonso is always someone that, as I said, in a back 4 you worry, in a back 3 with 2 wing backs you're not so much, because you take away that real defensive responsibility because of what he gives you going forward. So you have to say, based on the West Brom game and the what happened after that, you have to say Marcos Alonso's a 5. So to Emerson Palmieri, who's hardly featured, he's been coming on as a substitute. He's been featuring a lot in the squad because Marcos Alonso wasn't. And Emerson was all set to go to Italy. Didn't happen. Looks like it will do in January. Him or Alonso, still up for grabs. So Emerson, a 5. So let's look at our right back position, and there's 2 players that play this position in particular, and that's Cesar Azpilicueta and Reece James. And what's been interesting to see is Cesar Azpilicueta has found himself out the side more than you would have expected this season. Utilised in a back 3 and always giving Frank Lampard that option. He can also cover as a left back, play as a right back, and Cesar Azpi will always give you 100%. It's just interesting to see that he's been in and out the team. He's not really held that position down, bearing in mind that we were looking to try and find a balance in the back 4 to try and get that solidity that we were lacking because we kept conceding goals. Azpi's last appearances was against Man United in a back 3, and then Krasnodar as the right back when we played them away in the Champions League. Since then he's missed out against Burnley, he's missed out against Rennes, and he's missed out against Sheffield United at the weekend. It's interesting to see whether Frank Lampard is just managing him and managing his fitness, but the position has gone to Reece James. So for performances so far from Cesar Azpilicueta, I think you're going to have to turn around and say 7. So to Reece James, and Reece James found himself in and out the team as well with Azpi, but has come to the fore more so in recent weeks. Reece James will always give you that physical option. He loves a challenge, he'll stand up to anybody, but he gives you so much more going forward than Azpi, and his crossing ability is just second to none. It's outstanding. Reece James in tandem with Ben Chilwell, going down those sides, give Chelsea so much more of an option, and hopefully in the formation that looks to be suiting us better, the 4-3-3, we'll see plenty more of it. And Reece James has just been fantastic for me, and I think Reece James is right up there with an 8 so far this season. So to the centre-backs, and we've got 5 of them, believe it or not, because one of them was expected to be sold and didn't go. One of them was then approached about a last-minute loan deal and didn't go. So we sit here with 5 centre-backs. Andreas Christensen, Tony Rudiger, Kurt Zouma, Fikayo Tomori and Thiago Silva. So to Andreas Christensen, and here's something that's quite interesting to note. Andreas Christensen started against Brighton, against Liverpool, against West Brom and against Southampton. We conceded against Brighton, we conceded 2 goals against Liverpool, we conceded 3 at West Brom and we conceded 3 against Southampton. I'm not saying that all of those goals were his fault or he played a role, but he was in part of our defensive unit where we had disappointing results, apart from the Brighton game. Since his last appearance against Southampton, we haven't seen him since. Liverpool was disappointing. He had no choice but to bring Sadio Mane down, who was through on goal, got himself sent off. Frank has always been looking for combinations, relationships as he calls them, and it just looks as though since the fact that the Southampton game's the last time we saw him, Christensen is out of the picture. So for me, you'd have to say, based on the fact that in those games that he played, we've conceded in every single game, you'd have to say that's a 5. So to Tony Rudiger, who's found himself out of the equation. Simple as that. Looking to move along, didn't happen. Not even involved, hardly involved at all in Chelsea's games, up to the point where he had to have a chat with Frank Lampard to clear the air. They did that. And he then featured against Krasnodar, playing next to Kurt Zouma, and played well. Chelsea won the game, as we know, 4-0. Rudiger was then benched for the next Premier League game, came on as a substitute against Rennes in the Champions League, but benched once again for the game against Sheffield United. You have to wonder what the future holds for Tony Rudiger. Will he leave the club in January, or will Frank Lampard give him more minutes as we build towards Christmas and the busy Christmas period? I guess we have to wait and see, but for now you'd have to give him a 5. So to Fikayo Tomori, who another one who's hardly featured. He made an appearance earlier in the season, but after that he's been relegated to the bench, and to his credit he wanted to turn down the last minute move to West Ham before the window shut because he wanted to fight for his place in the Chelsea team. He's got a job on at the moment and he's hardly featured, so you just hope that he continues to do so and will get his chance, because we all know the quality that Tomori has. For that alone, and the fact he's hardly featured, it's got to be a 5. So to the Chelsea defender that I think has improved the most and been the most consistent over a period of time from last season to this season, that's Kurt Zouma, who's arguably, as I say, the most improved. And he's totally flipped the situation, because if you think about the beginning of last season when Frank come in, you would have said it's Tony Rudiger and Andreas Christensen as the number 1 starters in the middle of the back 4, or the back 3 with Aspley playing next to him. He's totally flipped that round. And the fact that since Thiago Silva's come in, Kurt Zouma's made the position next to him his own, fair play to him. And it's just fantastic from Zouma. So for me, I would actually say that Kurt Zouma is a 9 out of 10 so far. He's scored a couple of goals. He's imperious. He's someone that you know, he just makes blocks left, right and centre. He's far from the finished article, but he's getting there, and that's the most important thing. And just for the way he's turned it round, from being someone that wasn't the number 1 to making that position his own, outstanding. That's why he gets a 9 from me. So to Thiago Silva, who's come in and taken some time to fit in to the Chelsea's squad, to get himself to a point where he's ready to play. He's come in and done fantastic. He's come in, he had a wobble against West Brom by making that mistake, Gerrard-like against Demba Ba, but he's recovered from that. And his experience, his knowledge, his organisation is there for all to see. And now that we've made that switch, it started with the 2 goalless draws against Man United and Sevilla, but Chelsea switched to 4-3-3 now, and Thiago Silva marshalling that back 4. The 3 of them working in tandem together, Mendy, Zouma and Thiago Silva, can all speak French, they can all organise each other and people around them, and it's really beginning to show. They're constantly talking to each other, constantly communicating. You then had the likes of Jorginho in front of Thiago Silva, who obviously can speak Spanish, he can speak Italian, he can communicate with him, he can communicate with N'Golo Conte. Thiago Silva has begun to show the class that we all knew that he was, defying his age, because let's face it, for a 36-year-old defender in the Premier League, you're having a laugh. He's proven people wrong, and it's been so good to see. For me, he gets an 8. So guys, that's it from me for my review, this sort of half-termy report on the goalkeepers and defenders, rating them out of 10 so far this season. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Smash the like button for me, then subscribe to the channel, but make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss my videos come out. Make sure you stay tuned the next couple of days for the midfield ratings and the attacking players, their ratings on Friday. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Like, subscribe. See you next time.